Financial Survival Network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to KerryLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
Great news, we've got a sponsor. This show is now brought to you by Miles Franklin. And when it comes to protecting your wealth, you know there's nothing better than gold and silver. That's what I'm buying. I hope you're doing the same. And once you make the decision to buy gold and silver, there's no better place than Miles Franklin. Look, they've been in business 22 years. And the reason I'm a customer is because when you buy, they ship. Go to milesfranklin.com or call them at 800-822-8080 to get a free quote. 1490 WGCH. This is Kerry Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network. I don't know if you've seen this YouTube, Kony 2012, which is supposed to make you feel bad for children of Africa, which God knows there's lots to feel bad about, but there's something wrong with the production. Too much money went into it, there's too much money there, and it makes you wonder if they're trying to indoctrinate or propagandize the next intervention. And with me now to dissect it, and we're both suffering from nasty colds, is Chris Duane of don't-tread-on.me, who's got the inside track on this whole thing. Chris, hey, welcome back. So what's up with this thing? It's like
all right.
A sensation, an overnight sensation.
First question, anything that comes across this well produced and that becomes so viral so quick. I think it was only yesterday. I was absolutely laid out with the flu, and I had like 3 people email me about what I thought about this Kony 2012 thing. So I was like, I haven't seen it. So I'm watching it, and the first thing I noticed, this is a very well slick produced video. I mean, this is not your typical YouTube video that, just happened to, the stuff that you and I do. I mean, this has got, directors and graphics guys and storyline producers and just a ton. You can tell this is a very well financed movie. This is not, some, independent film director, just putting this together. This is at least $1 million production, if not more.
I've got some numbers here because they're being investigated. Interestingly enough, they took in $13.8 million last year for a Schools for Schools program, and the organization spent $8.9 million, of which just $3.3 million went to programs in Central Africa. Of the remainder, another $2.3 million went to marketing. There we have it. $1.4 million on management and general expenses, $700K on media, $850K on awareness products, i.e. clothing, DVDs, etc. So there you have it. Follow the money.
Well, there's all these organizations out there that have all these very well-meaning
misguided
misguided things behind it. And trust me, what they're bringing focus to is the most disgusting thing I can think of in humanity. You think about these child sex trades and stuff like that. To me, what Joseph Kony's doing to these kids is the absolute worst thing you can do to a person. Kidnapping children, robbing them of their innocence, getting them hooked on drugs, forcing them to commit murder, forcing them to kill others, rape, and all that other stuff. There's no doubt this guy is an absolute Class A scumbag, okay? My question is, what is behind this? You have to do this, follow the money, cui bono. Who does this benefit? What's the story here? This isn't some cutesy art director with his son, out to go save the world. There's something behind this. So I started to think about this. And some of the general themes are, it's the idea that to bring awareness, okay, so they go through all the disgusting things, and then it switches over to all these young, energetic, millennial kids, dancing in the streets, hanging up posters, wearing wristbands and getting their friends involved. It looks like a Pepsi commercial, like everybody's like, having a really good time. We're going to take all these young, energetic kids, and I'm looking at it from a bigger perspective. Take all these young, energetic kids doing things of absolutely no importance. Bringing awareness to causes does nothing, okay? It doesn't work when Tea Partiers march on Washington. It doesn't do anything with Occupy Wall Street. Awareness does nothing. It does never changes power, okay? In order to change power, you have to become independent of power. But anyways, they take all these young, energetic kids and force them onto something that has no effect on the current paradigm, okay? And funnels them through the current power structure. So we have our media elite and we have our political elite, and it's all about, hey, let's get these guys we're going to ask them to take care of this, okay? So they had a two-prong effort where they're going to say, hey, let's go get Puffy and Oprah and Justin Bieber to say, hey, we support this. So that's what they did. Boom, out to Puffy's 5 million Twitter followers, and that's 5 million people watching this video. And Oprah says, yeah, this is a great cause. And yes, it is a great cause, but let's get down to the deeper thing. And then we're going to apply political pressure to this. So at the end of this whole video that seems very goodwill, it's actually a call for blood. Let's go start another war. Let's go kill some people. Let's go, fight some, have some other military intervention in another country that we have no constitutional authority about doing. Trust me, I feel bad for these kids, but I don't need to go die for them. I don't need to go send my sons over there to die for them. If the whole world falls apart, United States should not care. Our own problems should be left on our shores. We have this $1 trillion military industrial complex with 777 military bases all over the seas. And we're broke, folks. We can't continue to do this. And yet, some reason why Uganda is now of national interest in a humanitarian interest. Okay?
Let me take a guess. Is something buried there that you have to dig for and pump out, and then you can sell on world markets? Could that be it?
Well, before I get there, so, we all heard the last time that we had something like this was Darfur, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody was like, "I'll save Darfur." We got George Clooney, going to Sudan and the atrocities that were going down there. Well, folks, the subtext to what happened in Sudan and Darfur is China is actually one of the biggest oil producers in Africa. Okay,
oh, yeah.
The United States is way behind the ball, and in order for us to maintain the petrodollar, okay, we need to monopolize all oil transactions all throughout the world. Okay, mm-hmm. So in order to stop China's friendly investments into Sudan, and Chinese don't care who they work with, but they don't go in there with bombs. They go in there with contracts and money and say, "Hey, you have oil here. We'll give you money." Okay. Whereas we go in there and say, "Hey, we're going to bomb the hell out of you, or we can give you dollars." So what did we do? We created a humanitarian problem. Not that there isn't humanitarian problems in every other part of Africa, but Southern Sudan had a ton of oil. So what did we do? We started creating this Darfur thing, and that gave us the justification to go send in troops down there. And now that Southern Sudan has liberated itself and now has oil contracts that are now flowing towards American contractors, all of a sudden Darfur is not a problem anymore, is it? Mm-hmm. So I take this theory and say, okay, well, let's go to Uganda. And it just so happens, and you can look this up, The Economist did a article not a year ago that said Ugandan oil bonanza Uganda. You can Google Economist, just Google Uganda oil in America, and there's like 12 articles, and they're all about, and this is all from last fall. Okay, all these articles talked about how the United States is are they interested in Joseph Kony or oil? And that, Obama's sending, 100 troops over there and stuff like that. And, wouldn't you know it, Uganda announces these huge oil finds. Now, all of a sudden, we have this spontaneous multi-million-dollar, well-financed, well-connected to get P. Diddy and Oprah and all these other people to do this. Watch what happens, folks. Watch what happens. Follow the money. See where this is going.
Yeah, they should have stuck to recycling, because at least there it just wastes a whole bunch of money, accomplishes absolutely no good, and it's just a waste. But when they start getting into these other international causes, people wind up dying. Yeah. It's the same thing with what was that one? We Are the World. Remember that? They're all singing away, and as it turned out, none of the money, Live Aid, none of the money goes to the people that need it. It's just a scam, and at worst, it's a propagandistic tool to mobilize the masses towards military information.
It burns these people out. This is really no different than the political campaigns. We get these elections every 4 years that, this is the most important election of our life. So we get all these young, idealistic, well-meaning kids who do want to change the world, spending all their time, energy, and money dancing and working really hard for one of their candidates that they believe in. Only to burn themselves out, and by the time that they're 30 and 40 and realize both parties are exactly the same. Nothing ever changes. We still go off to wars. We still go into debt. We still have jobs going overseas. Nothing really changes regardless. But the idea is to distract us, to keep us wasting our time, energy, and money on things that have absolutely no difference to the real power structure of the world. And this is, again, no different. So here I am, Carrie. I have my Truth Never Told series, which I think is, I really try to cut to the real problems, the psychopathic nature, collectivization, propaganda, indoctrination, the real basics of why we have a really screwed up world, okay? Why we have trillions upon trillions of dollars of debt, where every single person in the world owes debt to the few families that own the privately held central banks, that we have multiple wars flying all over the world, that we have all this, inequity with, wealth distribution and, this money flowing up to these corporations and the Wall Street bonuses. And yet, we got people starving in the United States, for Christ's sake.
Yep.
So, here I've been busting my butt for 4 months, and I've been proud to say that I have 1.4 million views off of the 70 videos. And then I watched this video come up, and within 4 days I got 70 times more views than I do. So I said, all right, well, I'm going to do whatever any other good guy is going to do, and jump on the bandwagon. So I spent a lot of time trying to bite my tongue about all the stuff I just explained to you about following the money and discrediting these guys, and showing how it's a psychological operation to distract. And I said, hey, I put out a 2-minute video, and I said, hey, the Kony 2012 video is a wonderful piece of work. It shows that this millennial generation isn't apathetic and uncaring, and that people can go about affecting change by bringing focus onto criminals, and that the one thing that these people who operate and that will bring justice even to the darkest heart of Africa, okay, and that the people who do operate in the dark should really be afraid of a wide awake, a wide-eyed population that is fully awake, okay? Because after we're done, and I wanted to put this Kony guy in the proper perspective, after we're done with this third-rate tin pot dictator in the middle of nowhere, we're going to start going after people who benefit off of the drug trade. And then I showed pictures of how the opium production in Afghanistan has tripled since the United States has invaded. And actually, one of the reasons why we invaded Afghanistan is because the Taliban stopped all opium production, and that some of the wealthiest families in the world, even HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank of China, was founded during the opium wars to funnel drug money, and that still goes on today, but we just don't talk about it. Or that we're going to go after those who steal natural resources from developing nations, or load them up with debt. or use slave labor. Here's another thing. Okay, so I find it totally intellectually dishonest. You get guys like P. Diddy, who's like, "Oh, let's go after Joseph Kony because of this." Okay, most people don't realize P. Diddy didn't make his money from rapping. Okay, he's not that good of a rapper, but the majority of his money has come from his fashion line. Well, folks, where's all of his stuff made? It's made, let's be honest, it's made by slave labor in China or Malaysia or stuff like that. People are getting paid 4 cents an hour, and that those 4 cents or whatever that they're making is going back to the factory to pay for their food and labor or housing. And that, the $2 or $3 that it may cost to actually produce a shirt, you're paying $100 to P. Diddy, so he's keeping, I don't know, huge, massive amount of his profits so that he can be blinging it out and driving all these fancy cars and wasting this. Meanwhile, the sweat off the backs of the labor that he's making, is suffering. But yeah, let's go after Joseph Kony. So I think it's hypocritical there. But I start point after point about all the other injustices that are going on, and then I said, if the best thing about this Joseph Kony thing is if we could get millions upon millions of people to care about a decades old war criminal, because this has not been going on recently.
It didn't just start.
This has been going on for decades, folks. I mean, this is not anything new. A decades-old war criminal in the middle of nowhere where most people can't even point on a map where Uganda is. And then I said, and oh, by the way, they just announced major oil fines. And I showed like the 6 headlines about the United States going after the oil and trying to stop China from getting to the oil. I said, how would people feel as if they realize that there's actually a global systemic system that has enslaved all of humanity generation after generation by spreading debt and death throughout the world? And I show this really cool power structure thing, basically showing that the financial elite that own the world central banks, that own the other world's banks, that control the governments and the militaries and all this other stuff, dominate the world's resources. I said, what if they were to see that somebody's actually dominating the world and causing all these problems? What if we actually got to the root of the problem instead of some tin pot nobody in the middle of dark heart of Africa?
Yeah, so wouldn't that be amazing? And so, Chris, where do we find this video, and where do we find you?
Yeah. So you can check out the video I just did, which is Kony 2012 Addendum. And you can also obviously watch the propaganda piece, Kony 2012. And you can find me on Truth Never Told at YouTube or don't-tread-on.me.
And the addendum's up there already, right?
Yeah, I think I just put it up like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, man, I can hardly wait, because when you can hijack a bogus movement and turn it to righteous ends, that is totally cool from a fun standpoint and from a useful idiot standpoint, for sure, right?
It'll be definitely interesting to see the reactions.
All right, next week when we talk, let me know how many uploads, because these people, some of them are going to be apoplectic and despondent with you. It's going to be great.
I don't know. I think I handled it really well, but we'll see. I got no downvotes yet, so we'll see.
Just remember that the people you're dealing with are not known for
read the
sense of humor.
So read the comments on the Kony 2012 of anybody who challenges the idea. I mean, it's like, die and, just... That's the other thing. These liberals are becoming bloodthirsty, like the Andrew Breitbart video. I mean, they're like, they want blood.
Yeah, isn't it amazing, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pulling this up now. I don't see the addendum yet, though.
Yeah, it's on my...
That thing. It's not coming up yet on the... It's not coming... Well, maybe here it is.
Here, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me, because I want to track it. It's too much fun. And I'm going to enjoy this, because... The other thing that you always have to remember is the people who get swayed by this stuff and follow it aren't the brightest bulbs on the tree. And I just did a story about bulbs also, but because I went to Home Depot.
Unfortunately,
last weekend.
If we don't get these kids,
I know,
well-meaning kids to start seeing this, we're really screwed, folks.
Yeah, we are that. And, just don't go buy light bulbs at Home Depot. You're going to be really, really, really upset, I promise you.
Yep.
When you see that your light bulb that you've known since you were a child has been criminalized and is evidently, I think they still can sell the existing inventory, but that's going to be gone soon. And then you're going to have like halogen bulbs, which use the same amount of energy, except they cost $12 instead of half $1. And then you've got the $50 LED bulb that will outlive you, but will never pay for itself. So that's what you're in for. All right, Chris, hey, thanks for coming on after recovering from the flu. We'll talk to you soon. Be well.
All right, take care.